We're just going to have a quick look at the new RaceHQ 3 series on a Windows laptop here, just starting up the application. Once it opens up, we'll then come into the pack racing screen. So basically this is your Seiko multi-timer screen. If you want this application to talk to your RaceHQ profile, just come up to the settings if you haven't already been prompted. In the web tab here, I'm just going to go refresh. This is loading my member data and so on. If I had a different center that I needed to connect to, then I'd just go and find that center. If I have a user profile, then I'd tick this on and put in my username. But I'm just going to be using my super user access here, so I've got demo and the password in. Every time you press refresh, it's going to bring down your latest members, your latest PBs, your center records, and your event information. You could make this an automatic thing that when I start it up, it goes through this process. I generally leave that off just so it's nice and quick to start up. Other things in the settings here, there's a whole variety of different options for having two races happening at the same time. If I'm using any wireless start devices, then I've got a number of options on what I'm doing in here. There's notification flags of entering the same number twice and so on. Otherwise, in the print area, if I want to have a summary ticket print when I press save, or an individual athlete ticket when I click on the member ID, then I can do that. Also, if I wanted to do some cross-country A5 certificates as I'm keying in numbers, then I could do that as well. Generally, that's just left on star. If I need any more events, then this is where I can find them. So expand this out and tick on the ones that I want to use. Here's all the member information that's been pulled down from RaceHQ. These columns are sortable. It's just by clicking on them I can sort them around how I need to. Waves, if you're using any handicapping or any sort of progressive starts for more your distance races, where someone's off at the start point, someone's off at 2 minutes, someone's off at 2 minutes 20, that's where this information will come in. If there's any extra peripheral devices that you're connecting up, whether it's RFID readers or digital clocks and scanners and so on, that's where you'll do it. And then finally, this is where all your records are for all your different events that it's pulled down for you. So just heading back here, we've got pack racing. If I did want to use some wireless timing gates to help me time my pack races, then I could do that, and this is where I'd turn them on and they'd connect up. Otherwise, if I wanted to do some sprint racing, then I could do that in here. 8 lanes, starting from whichever lane I need to start from. Again, turn on my start devices or triggers. The arrow direction on the base is all relative to the sun. So if my arrows are all pointing towards the inside of the track, towards lane 1, then I would have the arrow facing this way, and that's the way the sunniest side of the track is. Versus if the sunniest side of the track was on the outside, I'll click on this side, and now all my arrow bases on the gates need to be pointing towards lane 8, which is the sunniest side. If I was using some other timing apparatus, like RFID timing, then this is where it would connect them up. If I was using Photo Finish, Amiga, any of those sort of external timing devices from Finish Links and Swiss Amiga, then this is where I'd find the information and pull them across. If I was using an ATP timing system, if I was using an ATP timing system, as in the Tassie gates, there's a 201 version and a 301, that's where I'd find them here. If I needed to print off any barcodes for the season, then I could do that too, so I'd just come in here, choose some age, genders. If I want to preview what it looks like, that's the standard barcode. There's another combination, do the bib prints, turn my barcodes off and just go numbers. I use the Dymo, but I don't have a Dymo label printer connected. Otherwise, you've got the start line. Now this is really cool if you're running some sort of wave or handicap start, then this is where it'd bring down the information, and then you would have your athletes starting on the line. So if I choose a particular combination. Here's all the kids. They're all off 0, but we'll just start anyways. It counts us in. And then we're off and racing from there. But obviously if we had waves or different start times, we'd have the different kids who are ready to go at different points in time. So we'll get out of there. And otherwise, if I just want to, oh, here's a cool one, acceleration gates. If you want to use your gates to allow for a flying start and then get some different 5 meter, 10 meter, 20 meter splits, then this is where you come and set up how many checkpoints you want, and if it's a running start or not, and if you want it to automatically save and so on. So have a play around with that if you've got some gates. And another cool one, if you're doing any swimming carnivals for schools or for your own club, then you need the little wireless triggers, and this is where you say how many you have. So depending on the number of lanes you're running, swimming starts from lane 1 at some pools, otherwise you can start it from lane 0, otherwise start it from lane 1. And the last but not least is our good old saved events. So all the race data is all in one file now, in one spot, instead of in different applications and in different locations. So now if I need to go look at anything, I just come into saved events. If I need any help information, then I can click on the question mark up here, and that will open up the forum for me about what it is that we're looking at and all the different options. If I have my wireless timing hub connected, this would normally find it and come up green. Otherwise, at this point in time, I don't have one connected, hence there's no COM ports available and I couldn't find it. So let's go do a pack race. So I'll turn all my gates off. I'm not using any of those. I'm just going to use this like a Seiko multi-timer. I'm going to hit go race. This now opens up with all the different information. I've been doing a little bit of testing and playing around, so I'm actually going to turn off my wave time. And we're just going to use the standard finish time here. All these columns are also, I can expand or collapse them. Here's all my events. So let's also, if you're not sure about the hotkeys, so to start a race, it's telling me here you click here or press the control key to start a race. So I'm a much more prefer to use my control key. So I'm just going to hit that now and we started the race. Notice I haven't even selected the distance at this point in time. If I mouse over the trigger, it's telling me press here to trigger or use the shift key, and again I prefer the shift key, so I'm just going to hit the shift key 5 times. I've now got 5 times on the screen. While the race is still running, and even if I haven't selected a distance, I can go about keying in some numbers. We can see we've got the age coming up here and the gender and the club, and it's given me an age, gender breakdown as well as an outright. If they don't have a number, I can just start typing their name. So I'm just going to type in NI and it's brought up Nicholas. So I go, yep, that's the one. We've now got a 10 male, and we're going to write in, we've got a visitor turning up. If I spell that right. Visitor Jack. So it doesn't actually know the age or gender for Visitor Jack. So they're just going to stay as an outlier. I'll put another number in. Okay, now I can select the event, or I could have done it before, but I might as well do it now. So I'm just going to call this a 200-meter race. And straight away we can see that we've got PBs here for these athletes. When I'm ready, I can stop the race, or I could even start the next race. So if I use the Alt key, I've now just started the next race. Finally, our last athlete's come in, was having a bit of a chat with their buddies. So they've just walked over the line, put in who they are. No name, no number for that one, so we'll just put another one in. Okay, so they've just come in. I'm going to stop the race now. At this point in time, even though I haven't saved or deleted, I can still get times for that background race. So I'm just going to hit the shift key 2 times. I've now got 2 times in the background. So when I save this race, I've now got those 2 times there waiting for me. So I can go and key in some more names or numbers. I can stop this race and save. Now I've finished with the racing for the day, I want to go and have a look at my saved events. So come up here to my saved events icon. This then lets me have a look at any anomalies. So I put in Visitor Jack earlier, and there's also from some prior testing, there's some other information here. So I can go and have a look at some event groupings. So here's all the different groupings of different races. I'll just make this a bit bigger. Otherwise I can look at the age gender breakdown. So 9 male hundreds, fastest to slowest. Here's all the kids. I can look at the IDs, so race numbers and the placings. Or I can just go straight through and have a look at the last race that I just saved. I go and make this a number. I put in the wrong number. It should have been 45 instead of 54. And I can go and re-upload now if I wanted to. If I needed to edit at a time, I can just right-click on this and go edit and change this to something else. And it's also changed the placings around for me too. Here's the other race that I did before that one. I can use these arrows to scroll up and down through the different race types. This one that's just loading now, I put 1,000 times in, and so it takes a bit longer to load because obviously there's a lot of data there. It's also telling me here with this little M that this was a manual start. If it was an electronic start, then that would have a little E there. So that's what the M and the E is about. Just go back up. So all these are being manuals. When I'm finished with saved events, I'll just X out of here. So you'll notice up here, if I hit the control to start a race, I get an M. If I wanted to, I could turn on another column here, which will show me the type. And here it's saying manual. So if we had electronic gates connected up, then that would be coming in saying electronic. So we know that we had an electronic start from our electronic start device. We had an electronic finish from our timing gates. But in this case, I'm doing a manual start and I'm doing manual finishes. So it keeps track of all that information for you. So that's a quick look at the timing software. So I'm just going to save this one. To go back to the setup screen, if I wanted to now go and do some sprints or another sort of race type, then I'll just come back here, change this to my next event type, a race type, connect my gates up, and off I go. But I can't actually go race yet because it's waiting for me to connect up all my gates. So that's a quick overview of the timing software. I hope that helps. If you ever need to know if there's a new version, there will be a little asterisk down here that tells you that there's something new, and then you click on it, and then it would tell you what's available. If you wanted to ever go get the beta version, then that's where it lets you do that as well. Thanks for your time, and I hope you found this informative. Have a good night.